Let's talk about the concept bomb. Concept bomb's quite a challenging exercise, isn't it? We do them in first year, sometimes second year and third year as well. Why do we do this? Let's talk about that in this video. We'll also talk about tips for success based on a demonstration of a concept bomb. So let's get started. Why do we do concept bombs? Well, in essence, you want to practice the skills you want to have. And if you want to draw quickly, you need to practice drawing quickly. Speed matters when it comes to sketching. More speed equals more sketches in less time. More ideas, more design refinement, and ultimately better designs and more efficient designers. So it's all about rapid ideation. Let's start with some tips on preparation. Whenever I'm doing quick sketching, I always like to have my favorite pens handy. Another way of saving time is by using a familiar page layout. Here you can see me making a simple A3 page layout sheet. I'm placing thick dark lines that will be easy to see through when I'm tracing over the layout. Creating multiple thick lines gives me a choice of how broad my margins will be. Creating center lines also helps me balance the page when I'm sketching. Here's the finished layout ready to go. You can create your layout templates days or weeks in advance. Let's get our paper and pens ready for today's concept bomb. Concept bombs usually start with a short briefing, which set the theme and the objective. During the briefing, be sure to take notes. For today's concept bomb simulation, I've chosen to design in the style of Joey Colombo, famous Italian designer. I'm taking notes from the reference images so that I can get ideas. In some classroom concept bombs, you'll be supplied these reference images on the screen. Now it's time to start ideation. For this concept bomb, I set myself the task of designing an electric travel toothbrush. I like to begin by sketching familiar versions of the product, in this case a Braun toothbrush that I have at home. These early ideation sketches are a form of warm-up. I'm now to my second page, but I'm keeping a careful eye on the time. Including the briefing time, about 7 minutes has elapsed so far. I'm beginning to explore using a USB charging socket instead of a typical charging brick. This should enable me to keep my toothbrush really compact. I'm using a pen for scale. Maybe I can make the toothbrush not much bigger than a normal pen. It's often really fast and productive to use orthographic projections, in other words, quick side views or top views when you're thinking about your design. This can rapidly help you develop a sense of scale. I'm referring to my reference sketches to recall how Joey Colombo might design this toothbrush. In other words, lots of rounded rectangles. For a convenient and hygienic travel toothbrush, you need to protect the bristles in transit. So I'm trying to decide a way of putting the head of the brush inside the body of the toothbrush. Once you feel that you've got some potential in the ideas, it's time to start iterating on them. I'm doing this with the toothbrush by redrawing some of the ideas I've already sketched loosely. I'm also giving some attention to the internal components such as the battery and the vibration motor. Notice that as I try to develop the form, I switch frequently between side views and perspective sketches. I also try to annotate my sketches as I'm working. This reduces the likelihood that I'll forget one of my ideas as I'm working quickly. About 23 minutes have elapsed so far, and I think I've got an idea on what I want to do. So I think I can start thinking about layout. We generally specify A3 pages for the concept bomb. Landscape orientation is the most popular format, but of course it's quite possible to use portrait format as well. With some quick thumbnails, I try portrait and landscape before deciding to go with a landscape format. Using the underlay I prepared earlier, I'm quickly sketching out the design at about full scale using a colored pencil. Because of the straight lines in this design, I'm using orthographic projection initially because I think that makes it faster and easier. About 22 minutes remaining. Using one of the earlier pages, I quickly sketch out an exploded view of the toothbrush head. Using thick black lines, it makes it easy to trace this sketch out on my bleed-proof marker paper. Time to start adding some marker to make the form feel solid. I could rehearse the application of that marker on any of my previous rough sketches. However, because this is such a simple shape, I thought I'd just dive straight in. With the design sketching pretty much done, it's time to turn our attention to the other things such as notation and titles. I'm adding any details I can think of that might make the drawing clearer, such as the USB cable for charging. I have about 10 minutes remaining now. I've decided to use the remaining time to try and make the presentation stand out a bit more. Because I want this product to be hygienic white, I think I need to add some background colour. I've chosen a single different colour, in this case orange, to create a contrast with the foreground object. A few last minute notes and labels and I think I'm complete. I've ended up with about 5 minutes to spare, which means it took me about 45 minutes. Let's quickly review each of the pages. First rough pages of notes. Page 2 where I started to get an idea of the concept I liked. Page 3 where the details are coming together along with the layout. And finally the completed A3 page for the electric travel toothbrush. Let's review. Preparation is important. Get ready for your concept bomb by preparing your favourite pens and perhaps having some favourite layouts ready to go. Remember that during the time, even when the clock is ticking, spend a few minutes actually planning out what you're going to design and how you're going to spend your time. Use overlays to trace off portions of your sketches to use them in your final rendering. You can rehearse your rendering on the rough sketches that you've done during your thinking process. Finally, keep the layout simple and don't get distracted by trying to do complicated things. Concentrate on the ideas. Good luck!